All right, so I want to make a video about circumcision because I think it's one of the craziest things and one of the most wrong things. Or I guess as I like to think about it, male genital mutilation. So I remember when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, I was taking a shower, and as you do, you're like checking things out. I noticed that that's weird. There's like a real difference in skin color on my penis from one part to another, and there's this band that sort of like, it's like a very clear demarcation, right? It's not a gradual shift. It's clearly not a natural thing. And so I started to think that there was something wrong with me, okay? And so I went to the family doctor. The next time I went, I asked her, I was like, is there something wrong with me? There's this line, is that normal? And they were like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. That's totally normal. I was like, okay. And so then years later, right? So when I was in maybe 20 or so, probably 21, I like realized like, what the fuck? They cut off part of my penis, right? And because circumcision, it's not something that comes up that often. But I guess just, I don't remember what happened, but the light bulb went off and I was like, what? And so I looked into it, right? I looked into it. I'm like, surely there are good reasons that they cut off part of my penis as a newborn baby. Surely there are good reasons. What I found is it's an America thing, okay? So of course it's a fucking America thing. It's in Europe, they're not like this. In a lot of other parts of the world, they don't do this bullshit. And so what I found is it's an America thing. And, there's some like other weak justifications that people use for it. It's also a religious thing, right? So it's also a religious thing because in Genesis, God says something like, we've got to make a covenant and you got to chop your baby's foreskins off, some bullshit like that. And so because in this fairy tale book, God said that, I got part of my penis chopped off, right, at birth. So because, my parents aren't even particularly religious. They're a little bit religious, and I still got it cut off because that's the default, because that's what everybody else does, right? And that's so stupid. Like, if your parents are not critical thinkers enough to question whether it makes sense to give their newborn baby boy to a doctor to have him cut off part of their penis, then they're not going to be questioning much, right? If you don't question that, if that does not intuitively make you question, then I don't know what is. You're probably not going to become a vegan if you're not critically minded enough to make sure that they don't cut off part of your newborn baby's penis. You're probably not going to become an antinatalist, which obviously you're having a child. You're probably not going to become an atheist if you can't think your way out of that one. If that doesn't strike you as wrong, if you're not able to like rub that brain cell together and figure that out. They have some other bullshit reasons. They say things like, oh, it's easier for the parents to clean. Like, what? They say like, oh yeah, like you've got to like pull it back and clean. It's like, clearly people don't have like a problem, that doesn't seem like a problem for like the majority of the world who were not mutilated at birth. Doesn't seem to be a big problem. Also, they say some bullshit things like, oh, like STDs, something STDs. And it's like, it's like bullshit, it's clearly bullshit. And again, it's like, if there were real reasons that were not just cultural for circumcision to be a thing, and we're not just like religious for circumcision to be a thing, then like they would do it more in other parts of the world, but they don't, right? Because it's stupid. And so those are their arguments for doing it. Let's examine the arguments for not doing it briefly here, okay? So first of all, your child is not guaranteed to be the same religion as you. I feel like that seems like a lot of people probably wouldn't accept that, but I was raised Christian. I am just anti-religion now. I think it's like one of the stupidest, most detrimental things for humanity. And so I can't tell you how pissed off I am that you know, they mutilated my penis because of their religion, right? That's ridiculous. Bodily autonomy, right? So like, that's a big line, right? When it comes to medical treatment, when it comes to, you know, abortion, which, you know, I am certainly pro-choice, but it's like, okay, bodily autonomy, but you can cut part of a baby's penis off, and that's not viewed as like a bodily autonomy issue. Like, go fuck yourself. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So they're foisting their religion on you. They are permanently modifying your body in a way that makes it pretty like much worse from what I've read. I've read that, you know, the foreskin is there for a reason, and that reason is largely sexual pleasure. It has to do with like the lubrication involved. It has to do with, you know, the that part of the penis not being exposed and it being like more sensitive, you know, because it's not exposed. And obviously there's a lot of like nerve endings in the foreskin as well, right? So there's a reason it's there, okay? There's a reason it's there. And of course these like anti-pleasure religious zealots, these like pro-suffering fuckers, don't want us to have it. You know, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. And that's what I mean, like the hegemony. It's just, what else can they do? You know, they force you to work. They don't let you die if you need euthanasia. They don't let you have that. And they also fucking violate you at birth. That's absurd. Like, I feel violated, you know? I feel violated. That's how I feel about it. It's nonsense, right? So religion, bodily autonomy, I guess I would say those are the two biggest ones. And also just harm, suffering, lack of pleasure. I would say that's another big reason, right? So it's stupid. This is one of the issues that I feel really strongly about. And I know maybe this video wasn't particularly organized, but I think I got my point across. So I will, you know, keep making these videos because it feels good, and hopefully there'll be some people out there who will listen and enjoy it. So see you in the next one.